Let me ask one final question to you, Madam Secretary, and this relates to BIA and IHS contract support costs. Last year, the Supreme Court in the Rama case held that tribes are entitled to full contract support costs under their agreements with the federal government. What we're seeing, though, with the budget requests for both BIA and IHS, they've proposed this separate appropriations account solely for contract support costs. That also includes some statutory language that, in my view, circumvents the court's holding there. The language would effectively prevent the tribes from bringing claims for the full amount of contract support costs if inadequate funding is not appropriated to cover these costs. I don't know what kind of feedback you have heard, but I can tell you the outcry from tribes, from folks back home on this particular issue is really loud. It's quite intense. The tribes have spent so many years getting to this point, significant legal costs. They get the Rama decision and are very optimistic that they will finally see some equity within the budget here. And now this proposal, again, really kind of undercuts where they've come from. One of the questions that they asked me to ask you was whether or not there had been any tribal consultation prior to putting forth the proposal in the budget. And recognizing that you weren't in that situation to do that, I don't know if any of your staff has information in terms of what actually went on prior to this decision, or this proposal that is now in the budget.
Let me give a high level
Okay.
on the contract support cost dollars, and then I'll turn to my colleagues in terms of the process. We've got $231 million in the budget for contract support costs, which is about 91% of the need. So it is not fully funded. It would require $253 million to fully fund. It is an increase of nearly $10 million, and I understand that the court provided some different options in terms of how it was administered. The President, the Department of the Interior really want to fulfill our obligations under this, and of course it's a function of money. So we would very much like to resolve this, working with Congress to come up with a mechanism to address the conflict that we have in funding, and I think in terms of some legal conflicts as well in how the laws are administered. David, do you want to provide more?
Yes, thank you, Secretary. And Senator, this is a very important issue to us. As you know, this is an issue that also affects the Department of Health and Human Services with the Indian Health Service. And so in putting together the President's budget, it was really a function of the administration as a whole that had to deal with this issue at the same time that we're trying to now settle the class action case as well based on the Supreme Court decision. The consultation is occurring now, and I know that within the last couple...
after the fact, how's that going?
Well, I think it was going pretty rough, Senator. I know that Charlie Galbraith, on behalf of the White House, and Kevin Washburn and Ms. Robideau and others have met with the tribes about this. We very much view this budget as the beginning of a discussion. We need to solve this problem, working with you and the Congress to ensure that full support costs are available. We, as the Secretary said, we're committed to it. We found some additional money. We have to solve this problem. This is an interim step, and what we care most about, and I'm sure you do as well, that this not be a recurring issue year in and year out and become an open sore. I know that Kevin Washburn, in particular, Assistant Secretary for Indian Affairs, is committed to deal with this. I've engaged with my colleagues at the Department of Health and Human Services and the Attorney General's office to see if we can't both get the retrospective litigation completed and then have a solution going forward that works for you as appropriators as well to fund the support costs and honor the Supreme Court's decision.
Well, you know, honor the Supreme Court's decision, but also honor that trust responsibility to our First Peoples. It seems to me that the solution really here is to do what the Rama decision laid out, which is to pay the tribes the full amount of their contract support costs, and the president should include that full amount in his budget. I am sure that the consultation right now, or I guess it's not really consultation if it's after the fact, but I'm sure it's difficult. And we do need to figure out how we're going to do right. Again, not only by the court decision, but just the right thing when it comes to these obligations that our Native people have incurred when it comes to operation of our hospitals, of our schools. So this is an important one, and we've talked a little bit about the impact of sequestration and what it may bring, but this is not brought on by sequestration. This is just us dealing with our responsibility, our obligation, and how we make good on it is hugely important. So I appreciate the work that's going into it, and know that we stand ready to work with you on this end.